Hello everyone, welcome back to Cards in Hand. This is going to be a little bit more of an unconventional episode. I'm just going to be talking about my Pokemon card collection right here. I've got a bit of an awkward setup, so excuse me if, if I'm slow and kind of trying to talk about what I'm talking about, moving around and getting to the point of things. This is just an episode where I want to ramble a little bit, kind of relax after what I am claiming to be the busiest week of my young adult life. So we're just going to talk about Pokemon cards and what I've accumulated over past few years of playing and buying, a little bit of both. So I need to get a new binder first and foremost. This is just one of the normal binders, normal collection binders that are standard issued by the Pokemon Company. They're not that great, but they're not horrible either. They don't provide a lot of breathing room for the cards. Like they don't provide a lot of space for sleeved cards, which you don't just want to put cards in a binder bare. You want to have them sleeved. But anyway, we're gonna get right into it. So right here on this first page, I've got just a couple of older ones. This is organized by set, by the way, by set and then set number chronologically, and then by number and including secret rares, because you're gonna see a couple of those. But this is a bit from Heart Gold and Soul Silver Undaunted, and they did not really care about ordering things back in the day. This Aggron right here is the first card in the set. You know, typically nowadays you would see Aeron and Lairon before that, but no, they just have a fully evolved Pokemon as the first card in the set, which I think is quite weird. But right here, got two rares, two ultra rares. Well, what would be considered ultra rares from back in the day? Absol Prime and Mew Prime. Mew Prime actually retains a little bit of value still. It's floating around $10 to $15 right now. Not that bad. Got a single card from Furious Fists. It's the Dragonite EX. Nothing special. I used to have two of them. One of them came in a promo box. I got rid of most of my duplicates, and I do that whenever I disassemble decks, as you would see right here with this Aggron and Mega Aggron EX. I used to run a Mega Aggron deck, and now I've only got one of each. I've only got the single Aggron EX. I used to run 3-3 in that. Our first full art that we've got down here is Groudon EX from the same set, from Primal Clash. I was a big fan of Primal Clash when that first came out. And over here on the next page, it's a lot more flashy because we've got more to look at, more to work with here. We've got the full art Mega Aggron EX right there, as you can see. Quite nice, quite beautiful, still sleeved. Next to it, full art trainers, we've got Maxie and Wally. Wally is actually now banned in standard form, or not even standard because it's rotated. It's rotated from Roaring Skies from over 2 years ago. But it's banned and expanded because it prevents turn 1 setups, because you can turn 1 item lock with certain decks, and you can prevent turn 1 abilities with Tapu Lele GX. I would say it's a healthy ban for the game. But some of the other ones in that set of bans was a little questionable. Down here we've got all the Sceptiles in the world, all you can imagine. Over here is one of my favorite cards. I'm gonna go ahead and pop that one out real quick. I used to run Mega Sceptile competitively, and man, oh man, I absolutely love this card. Card is gorgeous. Pulled that from a blister pack around a year ago, I want to say. Maybe a little over a year ago. Don't think I'll ever get rid of it. And what's cool about this deck is that it only ran the Sceptile and the Mega Sceptile. But it only ran the promo normal Sceptile EX. The Sceptile EX from Ancient Origins was not so good. This one was good because it had one less retreat cost, and it's got agility. Agility is good on anything, any way you spin it, especially for a deck that only runs 4 of the same Pokemon. Then over here we got another really fascinating card, Mega Rayquaza EX, and this was actually a precursor to the one that released in Roaring Skies, but this is the shiny one, so notice that it's black instead of green. And you could only get it in Ancient Origins as a full art. They did a lot of that back in the XY era, where full art exclusives were a big thing, and we're going to see another one on the next page. And then the later half of this page right here, we've got my favorite expansion of all time, Steam Siege. I know a lot of people say that's weird. Steam Siege, you know, there was a lot of passable stuff in that set, but I personally loved Steelix in that set. I thought that it was fun, interactive, and the Mega Steelix EX right here, the hands down favorite Pokemon EX, like favorite EX of all time. It's a gorgeous card art. It's the dual type, so you could play it with strong energy. It could take out bench. It would set up for bench knockouts after you would already use its attack once. Very, very slow, but I just loved it. And the 240 HP before we got to see GXs with their massive 230 to 250 HP range. I loved it. I was amazed by this card, and don't mind the break. I actually need to probably get rid of that. Breaks are some of the biggest embarrassments to the game, other than Greninja Break. That's the only one that ever saw any kind of play. And up next, we've got a little bit more Steam Siege right here. Magearna, absolutely love this card as well. This right here is, I know I stated that Rayquaza, not Rayquaza, but Steelix was my favorite EX of all time. This is my favorite card of all time, the Full Art Professor Sycamore. Okay, so there's another exclusive full art for Steam Siege, and not only is it an extremely playable card, it's got an amazing hollow print to it, amazing textured background, and you know, we got Chespin right there too. What more could you love? Chespin is a gift, an absolute gift. Love that card. Got that in a box for Christmas one year, along with I think it was this Gardevoir, something else. Got some later era XY stuff, the Mega Slowbro and the Pidgeot EX. Used to run this in a one-of back in the first homebrew deck that I ever made. It wasn't a bad tech, it wasn't a great tech either. Then we start with XY era along the rest of the board here. That's where we're currently at right now. Snorlax GX is first, just because it was the first GX ever printed. It was the first Black Star promo GX that we ever saw. I remember seeing the box in GameStop, picking it up, and I absolutely loved it. I wish I still had the, I think it was Star hollow print that they came with. It came with the classic Star print Snorlax that you could play, because it was basically meant to be included in evolutions, because this was the transition period, and Snorlax was in, I don't remember if it was base set or if it was base set 2, but obviously they printed a Snorlax very early on, and you got one of those with it. And I wish I got to keep it. It was very, very cool. Then down here we've got more Black Stars with Solgaleo and regular Solgaleo. I personally like the art on the Black Star a lot more. I'm glad that I'm keeping these. I just love Solgaleo too. Moving over here, Tauros GX. That was a very nice tech whenever Sun and Moon first came out. When Sun and Moon first dropped in February of 2017, everybody was so nuts over it, just because it changed the game so dramatically. EXs were like basically out, except for like Volcanion and Magearna, as you saw over there. I used to have a secret rare Volcanion. I wish I still had it to show it off a little bit. That was a really cool card. But Tauros was a very attackable card, just because all of his attacks cost the same thing, and there was a new DCE everybody wanted to play to power it up. Got the Trump Pokemon right there. Full Art Lurantis, I absolutely love this. I pulled this on day one of Sun and Moon base set, as well as this hyper rare Tauros GX. And for those of you that aren't aware of how rarities work in this game, so we take a look at normal Lurantis here. That's an ultra rare. This is the same exact card, but it's a full art print. It's also just classified as a regular ultra rare, but it's a full art. Full arts have a lower drop rate. And then we have hyper rares, which if you take a look at the set number down there, it is 156 out of, 156 out of 149. So it technically exists outside of the set, just to kind of give more flavor to the rarity of it. And they all have this nice rainbow print. I thought it was very, very cool. Another secret rare we've got over here is Rotom Dex. You can have this as a normal one, but I have a secret rare from day one as well. Guardians Rising begins down here. We take a look at these Sylveons. I used to run a Sylveon deck. It was pure control, and it was pure madness because it was so successful. It was like the highest win rate deck that I had ever built back when Guardians Rising was brand new. It used to run enhanced hammers. It ran regular hammers. It would run flare grunts when those were still in standard, and delinquent as well. Delinquent was like one of the best control cards ever printed. It was just amazing. More full art trainers. I like holding on to full art trainers. I have a close friend that would give an arm and a leg for them. and he has sometimes. He's gone completely out just to get a hold of one or two of them, and it's kind of impressive, honestly, the lengths that he'll go to get his hands on those cards. See a whole army of Golissopods right here. Oddly enough, I've not tried Golissopod GX yet, even though it was second in Worlds at 2017, just a few months after Guardians Rising came out. I did run a Noivern GX deck at one point. Noivern GX, it was sort of the successor to Sylveon. I tried to run it with Control back whenever when Double Dragon Energy was out, because Double Dragon was the best way to accelerate Dragon types. And it rotated, so no longer usable. Noivern GX took a big hit, despite being an underrated card, in my opinion. It's a 200 HP GX with free retreat. You know, what more could you want? And then Tapu Bulu GX. Tapu Bulu was a great grass tech whenever grass was seeing more and more play. It was rising in popularity due to Golisopod, and it's also a one-of in Burning Shadows. With it being a full art, it's the only way you can get it unless you buy the Tapu Bulu tin. I haven't seen those in ages, so I'd imagine they're a little bit harder to get your hands on one right now. Full art Wick, love that card. She's just very cute, sitting right there, standing right there. Not a very good card, but I like holding on to it. I actually got into the big money spending aspect of Burning Shadows whenever Comic-Con here in Pikeville took place. That for the first time back in 2017, there were so many people swarming to buy these cards at the time, and it was just, I don't know, it was a nice time for the Pokemon community. Very, very fun. And then later that day, I pulled a hyper rare Marshadow GX. This is also a card that was projected to be very, very good, and the only thing it ever saw play in was Night March, which we don't talk about Night March. It's too strong. It actually needs to be banned. There are cards from that are still played and expanded, and then some in standard that need to be banned, please. Here we have the infamous Buzzwole as well. Buzzwole is run amok in standard. It's a very, very great fighting card. Not even a fighting tech, it's its own archetype. But fighting types are about to take a dive with, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe there's a psychic type being printed in Lost Thunder that comes out on November 2nd. That is going to just drop the hammer on Buzzwole. It's probably going to be the end of its lifespan. Double Whistle Baton down here, and going from Double Whistle Baton, it was ran in my Shining Genesect deck. Genesect is one of my favorite Pokemon. It's a very fascinating legendary Pokemon, and they tied it all together with the art that replicates the old Shining Kabutops from Neo Discovery. It was either Neo Discovery or Neo Genesis. I always get those two confused, but the very early days of Pokemon, and they even replicated the rarity with this little star symbol down here, indicating that it's its own type of rarity. It's not an ultra, it's not a regular rare, it's a Shining, which is so cool. And we've got more here to show us. Shining Arceus. Not very playable card, not very techable card. It's just nice to look at. That's the whole point of collecting, really. Got the Gen 4 set right here, a little bit of it, as you can see. Ultra Prism, I believe. Yeah, I never bought a lot of Ultra Prism just because it's so hard to get your hands on it. There was such a high demand for that set, and I will never be able to wrap my head around it. I don't know why so many people wanted that set. There wasn't anything in that set other than, I think, Dawnwing's Necrozma and Duskmane Necrozma that was highly sought after, because we didn't get Ultra Necrozma until Forbidden Light. So I don't know why the stock was so dry on Ultra Prism. I wish I could have bought more. But we've got the first Prism Star in the binder here, and the next one right there. Both of these are Prism Stars. Prism Star was the new archetype introduced with this set, and they're meant to be so powerful and so off the charts unbalanced that you can only run one of them in your entire deck. Cyrus is a good card, but many people pass on it, and I can't explain why, because if it's meant to be ran as a one-of, then why would you pass on it? It doesn't make much sense to me. I've always thought it was a good card. It's a great water tech, very good steel type support as well. This was the steel set in general. There was steel everywhere. There was the Mount Coronet, there was the Frying Pan Cyrus, everything. And they printed steel type Dialga GX alongside of water type Palkia GX, but I don't think that was until Forbidden Light. And speaking of, yeah, actually this Arceus Prism Star is the only Forbidden Light card that I have, which is quite sad. I never bought much of that set either because it's got Greninja in it, and everybody goes nuts over Greninja. Can't name anything else much from that set right now just because I haven't bought much of it. I haven't seen much of it in general. Right here we got the two newest sets, which brings us to the end of the binder. I've kind of cleaned this thing out a little bit. I had to get rid of it. Get rid of some of the other stuff that was more or less clutter that I knew that would not be worth holding on to. Some of this still isn't probably worth holding on to, but it's still a good bit of sentimental value to me, so much so that I don't ever want to get rid of some of those cards. Like the Steam Siege cards back then that we saw earlier, I would probably never get rid of those. I just love that set so much. But here we've got, starting off, Celestial Storm. Celestial Storm just came out back in August, and it introduced the new big bad, Rayquaza GX, which everybody was looking at. They had their eyes on it for Worlds this year. It's not a bad card. Recently played against it at a local tournament, and it did take first place, I believe. I took first or second, but it's just monstrously strong along with the dragon type support that we have here. More so Latios than Latios. Latios is just better for accelerating energy. Latios is a secondary attacker, but there's no real point in running it. I have this Jirachi here, this Jirachi Prism Star, just because I think Jirachi's a cute Pokemon. I don't know why I wouldn't want it. It's just nice to look at. The new Full Art Apricorn Maker and Full Art Bayonet GX, or not Full Art, but Secret Rare. And what's cool about this Bayonet GX is it actually took first place in Seniors Division at Worlds. Not the Masters Edition, but the Seniors Edition, the tier below it, with Shrine of Punishment. And it was just a deck that dished out a lot of spread damage across the board, across the active and the bench Pokemon, and it moved damage counters and got knockouts with its Shadow Chant attack. So it was a very interesting kind of blindsided deck that nobody really prepared for. It's the same situation that we saw with, I think it was either Worlds 2015 or 2016 with Audino EX, Mega Audino EX versus Greninja Break. Nobody thought Audino EX would take Worlds, and it was the same situation with Seniors Division and Bayonet GX in this most recent Worlds. And then these last four cards we've got right here, it looks kind of awkward, but I didn't leave any spaces in between because just so I could keep a continuous flow of cards in the pages. But these last four right here, we've got normal Reshiram, White Kyurem GX, Kingdra GX, and Reshiram GX. And I love these cards because they're from the new Dragon Majesty expansion right here, Elite Trainer Box. Only way you can get them is from Trainer Box, other kind of box products, because it's the mini set. It's the same thing with Shining Legends. That's why I don't have much Shining Legends. I have Zoroark GX, but they're in the deck that I'm currently running right now. I thought about throwing that in this video as well, but it could honestly be its own video, is the deck that I'm currently running at the moment. I'm not going to talk much about it just because this is a binder exposition. And this isn't the most impressive binder, honestly, but there are cards that I know that people like in here. I'm certainly glad that I got these pulls. Typically, you would not see 4 pulls from any trainer box, but I'm not complaining. You know, you get four hits out of 10 packs. Technically, I got 6. I also pulled a Blaine's Last Stand, which is a holo rare supporter. They started doing that again. There was a Diantha holo rare supporter, fairy type supporter, and I think it was Ultra Prism. It was either Ultra Prism, Forbidden Light, or Celestial Storm within the last couple sets. And I pulled a secret, not a secret, but a reverse holo lightning energy. I thought about digging it out and also throwing it into the binder, but it's fine where it is right now. The full art the secret rare Reshiram GX, I absolutely love this card. This is so unbelievably fresh. It's just gorgeous. It's actually playable too, because Kiowe, the fire supporter from Burning Shadows, still very much a successful card in fire decks, and it's actually the reason why Ho-Oh GX is so playable right now. Ho-Oh GX is getting more and more popular in the standard format right now because of Kiowe, and the same could be said with Reshiram, so we might see Reshiram come up in the future. And I think that'd be kind of cool, because I get to build it if I just pull one more. But anyway, that's what we've got for the binder so far. If I do end up getting enough product in the future, I will be updating the binder, and I want to do some unboxing videos as well. I want to get my hands on product, maybe like the new Tapu Lele box, but that's too much. Honestly, I believe that it being priced at $50 is way too much just for Lele, Finny, and then I think it's like 8 packs. $50 for that. That's a little bit too much since it's causing the price of Lele to plummet so hard. But I will find some product in the future, and I will open it for the channel just because I know that there's a big market. There's a lot of people that like to watch unboxing videos. It's just entertaining to see how luck treats somebody. So we're gonna get some product here in the near future, and we're gonna see how that goes. But that's the good old binder so far, and yeah, we'll be updating it along the way and talking more about the cards that we get for it. Maybe doing a little analysis here and there for the cards that we pull, and speculation videos determining how those cards will determine the meta in the standard format of the Pokemon trading card game. That's all we've got for cards in hand today, and we wish you all goodbye. Peace.